Welcome to Cold Call. I'm your host, Talia Coleman, and this is my co-host, Maven Coleman. So Maven, you ready? Okay, Maven. Right. Well, first, let me welcome you to Cold. Come on. See, Kelly's having a hard time sitting still. Don't move that. Don't move that. Okay. Don't move that. Don't move that. Okay. Sit forward. Sit up nice and straight, please. You can show some energy.
Nobody can drag me down. Nobody can drag me down.
And today our guest is someone near and dear to us, a special woman in our lives. My grandmother, Maven's great-grandmother, Marion Bennett. Welcome to the show, Marion Bennett. And we dearly call her Grammy. So this is our Grammy. Welcome all the way from Millbrook, New York. Welcome to Cold Call. You're one of our first guests.
Oh, I'm so pleased, so happy.
Yeah.
I'm smiling. I wish everybody was smiling.
I know. We're trying to get somebody to smile.
There it goes.
There you go. So we're actually going to kick this off with a special segment called Maven's Moment. And so Maven's going to kick us off with a few questions for you.
Maven's Moment.
What did you like to do when you were a kid?
What I like to do
When you were a kid.
I love to go to school.
Oh.
I love to play outside. I love to do things on the farm with the chickens and the pigs and the cows and the horses. Doesn't that sound like fun? Would you like that? What do you like?
Going outside, playing video games, and going to sleep.
What is it?
You got to speak up.
I like going outside, playing video games, and going to sleep.
Oh, going to sleep. Yeah, no. I like that at nighttime.
Okay. Thank you, Maven, for joining us.
Maven's Moment.
I was born July 11th, 1926 in Vassar Brothers Hospital in Poughkeepsie, New York. I'm 95. My mother went to live with my grandparents in Stanfordville. That's the most I remember. At a young age, my parents separated. And so my grandfather brought us to live with him on a 100-acre farm with a 10-room house. There was plenty of room for everybody, lots of bedrooms. And he was a farmer, so we had cows to milk.
Well, you were born in 1926. So that was during the Great Depression. Do you remember what it was like growing up during that time?
We had plenty of everything living on a farm. We had chickens, so we had eggs and cows and milk and pigs. My grandfather was also a butcher. He knew how to butcher a pig, and we make sausage and bacon and ham. And my mother was working, so we had very nice clothes. So we really didn't know what poor was. The house they had was given to my grandparents, was given to them by her name was Mrs. Arnold. She was a Quaker. When I was really young and living in Stanfordville, most of the time we were the only Black family there. And we were all friends with each other. My grandmother was friends with all the ladies in the neighborhood. They made quilts together. They visited each other. My grandfather, besides being a farmer, was a carpenter, so he was working and doing a lot of work. He was also a fireman. Everybody seemed to like us. Everybody was friends in school and in church until I went to Millbrook to high school. That's when I started experiencing racism. And I remember when it was time for our junior or senior prom, and somebody told us, please don't go because somebody's going to be there from the South, so we don't want you there. So I told my aunt and uncle, they lived in Millbrook, Francis and Irving Scott. They immediately got us all together, and 3 of us went to the prom.
That's right.
My aunt made me a gown. Preston went with another girl, and I went with another guy because we weren't friends then, or even, I mean, we were friends, but not thinking about even dating. So,
And Preston eventually became your husband, my grandfather. So you all went to the same high school, went to prom, but went with separate dates.
yes.
Do you remember much about World War II growing up?
World War II, I was about 14 or 15. As soon as I got to school, the day after Pearl Harbor, everybody was talking about what had happened, and we were all in a stew. We didn't know what was going to happen. Even at that time, 2 or 3 in my class were killed in the war, which was a sad situation. I did have a friend, I guess you'd call him a boyfriend. I didn't like him very much, but I wrote to him all while he was in the Army.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I remember when he came home, I remember telling him, I don't want to go out with you anymore.
Oh, he broke his heart after war?
Well, I just never liked many guys. I don't know why. Till my husband came along. I thought he was the best person there ever was.
He was. Even
though he was annoying at times, but he was the best. We were married 48 and a half years. We didn't make 50.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to the 50 years, and we never made it.
But still, 48 and a half years, what a blessing to be able to, be with someone that long.
Later on, when we got married, it was hard. We did have a place to live. It was a nice house that we rented. But when we went to try to buy a house twice, we found out there were only certain places in Millbrook where Black people were sort of allowed to live. So we just kept on renting.
Was redlining and was that the result of redlining? Because I know there's certain, that was a part of systematic racism, was the redlining where Blacks could only live in certain parts.
Nobody would sell to us. If they wouldn't sell to us, they always came up with some reason that, oh, you wouldn't want to go there because of such and such. But even way back when our oldest daughter, Sharon, died at a young age, at 9 years old, from lupus, people in Millbrook were right there to help us with everything. Take care of your mother, Judy, have playmates for her because I was busy taking care of a sick child. Yeah, I think of that often, about sometimes Millbrook you didn't like because there was the racial problems, but most of the people in Millbrook were just so good to me. They're always there. They're still there for me. We did go on a march to Washington and heard Martin Luther King. It was a real quiet, peaceful affair. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I had that as one of the highlights of my life.
Do you remember where you were? I hear a lot of people say, I remember the day. I remember where I was when Dr. King was assassinated.
I was working the day he was assassinated. I remember getting out of work and going to my sister's in Poughkeepsie before I went home to Millbrook, and telling me about it. Everybody was terribly upset about that, and naturally everybody was heartbroken.
What advice do you have for couples today?
I don't know, because even though I thought he was the nicest person I had ever met in the beginning, over the years, I didn't always think so. But I guess I think people now just separate for no reason, just the least little thing. You can put up with a few little hardships, because he was a good husband. He always worked. He was kind. He wasn't unkind. He had some habits I didn't like, but probably had some he didn't like. It's the same with everybody.
What would you say are the most important lessons you learned in life?
To forgive. I think it's hard to forgive, but you have to work at it. There's a woman, and she's a Black woman, who wasn't very kind to me, and I mean, she just wasn't. She isn't kind to anybody. It didn't matter about race. And now, even yesterday, I said hi, and I said hello to her dog. You know, I forget all about it and talk to her. Well, you have to love yourself first. And if you can, you know, I used to see a lot of faults with myself, but now I really don't. And it's a good thing to love yourself so you can love other people regardless. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Don't wake up and say, oh, it's cloudy and rainy and snowy and I can't stand it. Probably I still do that occasionally, but I still.
That's the flesh in us. That's the human in us, the flesh.
It helps to say, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Amen to that. Amen to that. That's for any believer, that is a great way to start any day. So this show is all about inquiring to inspire others. What has inspired you throughout your lifetime?
Well, I think it's faith in God. My grandparents, Lucian and Belle Taylor, to go and get us and bring us up. You know, they'd already brought up their own family, so they were so good to us, and so they probably inspired me more than anybody. And even all of you grandchildren being so kind to me and accepting me and not saying, oh, there's that old lady again.
We've learned so much from you. You've been an inspiration, a great inspiration to us. I list you as one of my greatest inspirations. I do. And it's funny because my mom always says, you remind me so much of your grandmother, because I'm always on the go.
You join things, you mingle, you join. Just thanks for thinking about me every day. Thanks for the phone calls. Thanks for remembering all the holidays and birthdays. Thanks for not ignoring me or forgetting about me. Thanks for not calling me an old busybody.
Ever that.
Oh, so anyhow, I'm so grateful to God for a beautiful family.
Nobody can drag me down.